What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni and Dec. What's going on, my bro?
Yo, it's good.
Listen, before we get into this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We're almost at 500 subscribers, man. You lot have been excellent with your sharing. I say this every week, but just like every time I say, I just want to show you the progress that we're making. So I'm just letting you know, like, whatever it is that you lot are doing, it's helping massively. Please continue to do so, man. We still got a long way to go. But yeah, me and Dec, we're here. We're going to do a little roundup of the Premier League. We've done it a bit late this week. I wanted to do it for yesterday, but I had a few things that came up last minute. So, Dec, we're going to start with your team, Liverpool, smoking out Norwich 3-0 quite comfortably. So, Dec, you can start off on that one.
Well, it's a good omen. You remember what happened last time we beat Norwich comfortably on opening day, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
No, it was a good result, man. It's just good to have football back with the full crowds. I mean, I was gassed. Like, I was proper buzzing. It just felt like it almost felt like we had like 2 seasons off or a season and a half off. I know, obviously, we played a full season last year, but just having the atmospheres back, it just felt different. It felt exciting. And obviously, to get off 3 points, clean sheet, the main man Mo bagging, Jota carrying on where he left off from the start of last season. And then Firmino coming on looking sharp, getting his goal. Perfect result all around. 90 minutes for Virgil. Can't understate how important that is, how massive it is to see him back on the pitch. Proper leader in the team. So just a great opening game. Couldn't have gone any better. Let's
talk about the first goal, Diego Jota. Slotting away after what looked like a bad touch from Salah, but it just fell into Jota's path and he just slotted it away. You want to talk me through that one?
Yeah, it was a good little ball in by Trent. Sort of just broke the lines, and yeah, it was definitely a lucky touch by Salah. He obviously tried to get on the end of it, but it fell perfectly. And that's what Jota brings, you know. He's a live wire. He's always on his toes, and when he plays through the middle, he occupies. He doesn't do the same as Firmino, but he gets into those good areas. And like you say, you've just got to be there as that middle man of the front three. You've just got to be in that area when the ball drops. And he did it, scuffed the finish, which probably sort of confused the keeper a little bit because the keeper should have done a lot better.
100%.
But I think the scuffs just took it in. Happy days, 1-0 on our way.
And to be honest with you, it wasn't even against the run of play. Liverpool just looked comfortable from the off.
From minute one, yeah. From minute one, we just looked comfortable. We carried on from pre-season now. If any Liverpool fans had watched pre-season, ignoring the results weren't amazing, but the performances were there. We looked sharp from the first pre-season game, and I think we're going to benefit probably more than a lot of clubs with we had Mane was there the whole time through pre-season. Salah was there the whole time through pre-season. Obviously, Portugal went out fairly early, so Jota was there for a good chunk of it. Then obviously Van Dyke didn't go to the Euros. Trent didn't go to the Euros. They both had a full pre-season. Scotland went out early, so Robbo was there, even though obviously he took that knock. But yeah, we're looking sharp, man. I was really excited before the season, and the first game just confirmed I had every right to be excited. It looked very good.
We're definitely gonna come on to Van Dyke as a little separate subject, because obviously that's a hot talking point. Obviously, you guys saw the first half through 1-0, that Jota goal quite comfortably. To be honest, 1-0 was quite a flattering scoreline for Norwich. Definitely. Could have been much worse. Your front three, like you said, they look sharp. Firmino, I was literally just, I'm not going to lie to you, just as a refresher, I was looking at the highlights, and it was the movement of Firmino again, even because we're going to come into his second goal, 67th minute in the second half. It's just he was involved in the movement in the goal, right? And if you just see how, like, he was just slowly jogging into that space, because Salah and Mane, they was just doing their thing on the other side, but I was paying attention to Firmino, And you see little things like that that people tend to avoid. It's that timing of being there, because everyone's going to say, oh, it's a tap-in, it's a tap-in. Well, here's the flip side to it. You get players, i.e. Timo Werner, who are too hasty. They would have made the sprint way too early. And that would have made one of two things. A, the defender would have seen you and he would have been onto you. Ball coming in, chances are it's going to be a clearance. Or B, you're just going to be offside. But it's just that presence of mind to understand what's going on around you, to approach the box in that sort of manner, in the way that Firmino did. But yeah, I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you talk through the build up to that goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, he started it. I think Milner slipped him in down the left-hand side, and he sort of just carried it. He wasn't trying to burst down. He was just carrying it. He knew Mane was in a good bit of space in the middle, and he kept looking, and he picked the right time to play the pass. I think Mane was a bit unlucky because he come inside the defender really smartly. Scuffed his shot a little bit, which obviously took it into the direction of Salah. And like you said, Firmino, he come in late. He sort of hung out on the left after he
slightly just slipped in, didn't he?
And just arrived at the box perfectly. And like you say, Salah did great. Salah clocked him straight away.
Yeah, presence of mind right there.
He had the whole 18-yard box to himself to just pick his spot. Yeah, he's looked really sharp. He was unlucky actually not to get the nod. But Jota obviously had a few more minutes under his belt in pre-season, and the three that started played together more in pre-season. So I think that's why Jota got the nod. But it's good to see like that competition, Jota and Firmino both scoring, sort of keeping each other on their toes. I think that's what Bobby needs. He's had a good rest this summer. He didn't feature too much for Brazil, I don't think. So he's quite rested. He looks fresh. And just that bit of competition, like he knows his place isn't guaranteed now. So I'm hoping we're going to see that 17-18 Firmino back, where he scored 29 goals, I think it was, in all competitions. So yeah, I'm very excited about his role to play this season.
I mean, for that to happen, obviously, Mane's got to start looking sharp, which he did. Obviously, the only thing he's missing is just getting on the goal sheet, which will come naturally. Yeah, that's going to come naturally. Salah, obviously, Salah just doesn't look like he's going to slow down anytime soon. So obviously, that's going to suit Firmino down to a T. I'm expecting him to at least hit the double figures in the goals this year. I think that's going to be important for you in the title charge as well. Goals being spread equally amongst your front three, because that was the case in your other two. Although Salah obviously was the main man leading the goal scoring, Mane was still putting in his share of goals.
Yeah,
I mean, he was still putting in his share of goals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, if we can get, Salah's going to do his thing. He's going to be there or thereabouts the golden boot, there or thereabouts 30 goals plus in all competitions.
Yeah.
So if we can get sort of around 10 league goals from each from the other three, that's going to put us in good stead.
Exactly.
That's going to put us on at least 50 goals between the four of them in the league. You can't really ask much more than that from your attack. So, yeah, it's looking promising going forward. Oh, and another record for Salah, 5 opening days in a row.
There you go.
In Prem history to do it.
There you go. Listen, Salah's the opposite of Arteta. Arteta keeps getting like awards for like the first of breaking like the worst records. Salah's just doing the opposite. He's breaking the good records. But obviously, the third and final goal. Speaking of my man Mo Salah, what a finish that was! And again, to the untrained eye, it just looks like he's controlled the ball, brought it down, and just slapped it. But in all actuality, if you saw the amount of spin on that ball and what you had to do to kill that ball, it was very difficult.
Yeah. And that had to be perfect.
Exactly, because literally where the ball was stopped was literally within his stride to hit it first time. So
and the tackle come in a split second after the stride went in as well.
That's what I'm saying. And this is what I try to make people understand. These are the differences between world-class players and very, very good players who are kind of trying to hit that bracket. It's it's being under that kind of pressure and still being able to pull off such difficult techniques. You see what I'm saying? And then get the end result. He does it time and time again. But talk me through that goal there, Dec.
Yeah, just typical Salah. I mean, he actually scored a very similar goal on the opening day last season. It was a cross or a corner come in against Leeds, and his first touches just killed it perfectly to get that quick strike off. And like you said, that it had to be perfect because it was an awkward ball to control. He sort of controlled it with his studs, and he just killed it right in front of him. And like he had to get that shot off when he did, because the tackles come in literally as soon as it flew off his boot. You just can't. I mean, he was stood on the edge of the box with no one marking him. And I think the commentator said it. You can't let, for me, the best attacker in the league just linger on the edge of the box from a corner. It's suicide. And he punished him, and he deserved the goal as well. He was unbelievable all day.
Yeah, he was
just taking off where he left off. He looks lean. He looks quick. He looks sharp. He looks. You say it every year. He's a consummate professional. It reminds me of Ronaldo in the sense of, obviously, with him being Muslim as well, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he's in ridiculous physical condition. He can go on for, he'll sign a new contract in the next few weeks, and he'll carry on at this level for at least 3-4 more seasons. 100%.
That's easy. How old is Mo Salah now?
29. Yeah, 29. So he's going to be doing this until his mid-30s.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously that was the final goal of the game, 3-0 Liverpool. I think it goes without saying Mo Salah was head and shoulders man of the match for me anyway. But I want to talk about one or two things before we end the topic on that game. We're going to come on to Van Dijk last, but I want to talk about Harvey Elliot. It was nice to see him come on and make a little cameo. What does that mean for him? Is he actually going to be in and around the Liverpool team this season, or do you see him being loaned out again?
Nah, Klopp's already confirmed he won't go on loan, and I don't think he needs to. He could have started that game. I mean, he was actually starting a lot of the preseason games. Obviously, at the back end towards the end of preseason, you can see your starting 11s sort of start to take shape. And the ones who are going to play the majority of the season start to get more minutes. And he was involved all the time. And he's actually, what I like about when he plays, Klopp's been playing him in the midfield 3. Yeah. But he makes it more of a 4. You know what I mean? He sort of, in attack, he occupies that. That's when Salah comes inside, he goes on the outside. And he seems to have such a good understanding with Salah already, in terms of if Salah makes that inside run that he loves to make, Harvey will just hang wide in case anything needs to go wide or spills wide. But yeah, for me, he can contribute this season. Whatever minutes Shaqiri or Origi have been getting, them minutes can go to him. We might sign another attacker, but if we don't, he's just going to get more minutes. And I think he's ready. I don't think he's ready to be thrown in at the deep end and like be relied on to play week in, week out. But especially like when you're playing like a Norwich, if you go 2-3 up early, he can come on, get 45 minutes, 30 minutes and make an impact. And I think we'll see him start 5 Premier League games maybe. And he'll get some solid minutes. But he's ready, man. He's such an exciting talent. I wasn't even this excited about Trent as he was bursting through. Yeah. Obviously, Trent was a massive talent, but he was a midfielder, so it was a little bit different. He's come into a new position in men's football. But the kid's just... the maturity that he plays with is way beyond his years. I would say the one thing that separates the really good youngsters and the elite youngsters is that decision making early. Yeah, he plays like he's in his prime. You know what I mean? It's good technique. The passes are always crisp. It's always the right pass. He beats a man in sensible areas. He doesn't try to do too much. You know, I think that sometimes these kids come into a team like Liverpool and they're a bit eager to impress and they try and do too much when they get the ball. But he's just soaking in everything and he just gets better every time I see him. But no, very excited about him. 100% he stays and gets good minutes this year.
Yeah, he must. That's a little maverick there in the making. You've got a little world-class player there in the making, man, 100%. And who better to nurture him and turn him into that than Jurgen Klopp, and learning around Mo Salah, Mane, and all these guys. Is the recipe for that to be successful.
Perfect environment,
it's all there. So, and last but definitely not least, the return of the big beast himself, Virgil van Dijk, in my opinion, before he was injured, the best centre-back in the Premier League, perhaps the best centre-back in the world, has to be said. Or argument that the argument's definitely there. But a lot of rumours before his return was that he didn't look the same in training, he wasn't gonna come back the same player. I don't really listen to that kind of stuff. But obviously, Dec, you've looked at it more in depth than I have, naturally being a Liverpool fan. How did he look to you on his return?
I think with Van Dijk, it's a difficult one, because if we're not in a dogfight, like, that was a pretty comfortable game.
Yeah.
And you know the way he plays, he doesn't barely break a sweat even when he's 100% fit.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. He definitely didn't look 100% fit. Like, he's definitely not. He's not match fit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fit. He's fit enough to play. Obviously, he played 90 minutes, but he's not fully up to speed yet. It'd have been interesting if we were playing a Chelsea or someone like that, if he'd have got the nod. Maybe Klopp thought he'd be able to coast through this game, no disrespect to Norwich. But I think there was one thing not in the game yet on Saturday. It was actually in the first pre-season game that he made an appearance. He'd just come on. I know he got twisted up in the game, but there was a little recovery sprint that he did. And that just let me know straight away, like, he's not lost any pace.
Yeah.
Like, once he gets up to speed, that pace is still there, that recovery pace. But he's a freak athlete, you know what I mean? I know everyone says, oh, people don't always come back the same. He's not an injury-prone guy, and he's a physical specimen, you know what I mean? Like, if anyone's going to come back and get back to the levels, it's going to be someone like him. So obviously all Liverpool fans are absolutely ecstatic to see him back. I wouldn't say our season rides on it, but if he can stay fit and get back up to those levels, there's no team in the world that wouldn't benefit from him being there.
In all honesty, in my opinion, he's the difference between you potentially winning a title or not winning it. And that's not a disrespect to your squad. It's just a defender that is worth his weight in gold to any team.
But he's the leader as well.
Yeah.
I know Henderson's the club captain, but he's the organizer on the pitch. He's the other voice alongside Henderson, and he's the one that everyone looks to, especially like defensive, the rest of the defense. With Tsimikas coming in, with Robertson out for the next few weeks, that's a big boost to have Van Dijk next to him, just coaching him through a little bit, giving him a bit of advice. And a special shout out to Joel Matip as well, because I think if he can stay fit, one of the most underrated defenders the Premier League ever seen, in my opinion.
He's so comfortable on the ball, like bringing the ball out from the back.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I always say, Dec, I've said this for years, I always judge defenders on their defending first before anything else. He's brilliant at that too. And I think him being next to Van Dijk, as most intelligent players should, has helped him massively in that sense. He's become way more of a complete sort of centre-back. You can ask him to do pretty much any role. You can ask him to be a ball-playing centre-back, just a centre-back that just wins the ball, plays it to the nearest player or whatever. Bro, he's just that guy. He's got a lot around him. I think he could even probably play defensive mid. Probably not against like one of the top four teams or whatever, but like if needed to deputize in there, I think he could do a decent job.
Oh, 100%. He's comfortable with the ball at his feet. He can go past players. He breaks the lines.
Yeah,
he could definitely do like a David Luiz kind of job. In there. And I think for me, if he stays fit, the other two struggle to get in the team. That's how good he is when he's fit and has a run of games. I mean, I think he's only played about, I think it's 41 or 42 games in the Premier League for Liverpool, like since he signed. Like that just shows you his injury record. But we've only lost one game in which he started in the Premier League in his whole Liverpool career. It's just you can't get him on the pitch enough. That's the biggest issue with him. Is just getting him on the pitch. Keep him and Van Dijk on the pitch for 30 plus Premier League games, and we're going to be right up there.
100%. So, well, yeah, I have to agree with that 100%. But you do have another good option to deputize there in Konate, and he's more than capable to hit the ground running. But it's just also about keeping him fit as well. So comfortable win there for Liverpool. We're going to move on to another very comfortable win. A team that many are saying have been overlooked because of the success of Chelsea, Manchester City being the title challengers. I think similar to Liverpool, actually, because this success is sort of like overlooked at the fact that you are actually legitimate title challengers. And from what we are seeing in the early stages, Manchester United 5, Leeds United 1. Bruno Fernandes, you would think that a Bruno Fernandes hat-trick would have been enough to get him man of the match comfortably and clearly. But then when you look at the story behind that, you've got a certain Paul Pogba who got 4 assists in that game. 2 of them assisted Bruno Fernandes. One of them was the Mason Greenwood and the Fred goal. My goodness me. Where do we begin with that goal? Should we just start with Leeds and get that out of the way first?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Leeds. I'm a big Bielsa fan. The only problem with Leeds is I feel like the way they played against United there is the way they play every game. And I think that's a bit naive. Like the way they played, they were too cavalier in the way they set up, I thought. They don't have very quick defenders. And they just left the defenders too isolated. Fernandes had way too much space to just do what he wanted.
Yep.
Pogba was majestic the whole game. No one could really get near him. I mean, for me, like, if anyone follows me on Twitter or whatever, I always have a Pogba agenda. But if I've got an agenda against you, it's because I think you're a quality player. Yeah. And for me, like, when he plays like that, he's as good as any midfielder in world football, without a shadow of a doubt. The only problem is you only see that like 20% of the time when he's got a United shirt on.
Well, is that? But that's also down to Solskjaer, because sometimes Solskjaer will play him out on the left wing, and it's just like, what are you doing, bruv? But
then he was operating in those kind of areas against Leeds. I know he wasn't technically like in that position, but he can do. I think the ball he slipped into Fred was out from the left, wasn't it? But then he can operate in those positions.
But I think with a player like Pogba, again, I like to use the word maverick because that's what he is. You've just got to play him in his position and just say to him, you know what, go out there and just do your thing. That's it. And I think that's that's why Solskjaer has struggled to work with him, because Pogba's the kind of guy where I don't think you need to tell him much, because the way he sees the game and understands it, it's just ridiculous. And what you really need to do as Manchester United manager is play around this guy's strengths. Listen, I know you've got Sancho, you've got Greenwood, you've got all of these guys, you've got Bruno Fernandes, but your central hub in creation is Paul Pogba, and you haven't always catered to his strengths.
No. I mean, they've tried. I mean, how many times have we heard, oh, we're signing this guy to get the best out of Pogba and
yeah.
Again, that part of it probably is down to coaching, and maybe that's where if Man United had a better coach, they might have been able to get more out of him. But I don't think you can put it all on him. I think part of it's got to lie with Pogba. But started the season off as good as he could have asked. But yeah, back to Leeds, they were just poor. There's a couple of moments where Rafinha got on the ball and looked a bit dangerous, but it was just individual bits of quality where they looked dangerous. They didn't do much as a team. They didn't look dangerous as a unit. That sort of pressing and players running, getting all those kilometers up like we're used to seeing, it just didn't feel like it was there. But yeah, it was just a poor showing from him. I think tactically he got it wrong. Didn't do enough in game to change it and try and nullify where Man U were hurting them. But Man U were brilliant. I actually turned it off for a bit because I don't like playing that well.
Yeah,
but
no.
All credit to him. Again, a bit like us, they couldn't have asked for much more. Couldn't really do anything about the goal. It was just a wonder strike against them to deny him the clean sheet. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, he's about as inevitable as Mo Salah at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah. No, exactly. And that was my next question I was going to ask you. Obviously, you get the banter about Bruno Fernandes being a penalty merchant and all that. Well, he showed he's got a little bit more than that to his game. And one particular finish that I want to talk about, because I don't want to go too much in depth into the game. We've still got quite a few other teams we've got to go through. And the bottom line is fuck United anyway. His third finish, oh my goodness. It was, I said it on Back Again. It reminded me of Sergio Aguero, because Aguero used to just love to slap it near post and move it. He was the king at that. And it was just nice to see that type of finish. So not taking anything away from Bruno Fernandes at all, because them finishes there, they weren't easy, especially the third one to get his hat-trick. Beautiful finish. That's
that to me is his strength. Getting in those areas. He's very, I don't think he plays exactly the same as him, but he's very Lampard-esque in the sense of he's not a traditional midfielder. You could argue he's more of a second striker.
I was going to say, like the Kai Havertz thing. Yeah, he could do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Because I think at times last season, where because there was a lot of criticism around him. I know his numbers were phenomenal and they're looking like they're going to be phenomenal again this year. So you can't deny him that world-class numbers. But I think the criticism comes in is where when he comes a bit deeper and gets involved in the game more, he can under-hit passes and make the wrong decision and kind of go for the Hollywood ball a little bit too much. Don't get me wrong, he pulls it off sometimes as well. Obviously, his assist numbers are stupid as well. But I think when you get Pogba playing like that, and you don't need Fernandes to come and do that and try and make stuff happen, which I think they were a bit reliant on last season. Yeah. That only bodes well for United, because then Fernandes is much closer to the goal, and that's where he's dangerous. He's dangerous in exactly the same areas that Lampard was dangerous. Edge of the box, arriving in beyond the striker, those late runs.
It's that he's got that selfishness as well that a striker should have. Yeah, for a midfielder. You see what I'm saying? So he's always like, you see, in and around that box. Even if you give him within 30 yards, he's lethal.
He'll pull it. Yeah, he'll pull the trigger. And I think there's not enough players like that. I don't think we don't have many. I think like unless you see Oxlade-Chamberlain playing for us, we don't really have anyone that tests the keeper from outside the box. I don't think there's enough of that actually happening in football, because you can make a lot happen off that as well. Second rebounds, keeper spills it, hits a defender, and that's what Fernandes does. Anywhere around that box, if there's no clear pass, he will get out his feet and he's got a strike on him. Like he will put it in the top bins, or he's going to make the keeper work, force a corner, force a deflection or whatever. So yeah, very encouraging. I much prefer Fernandes, although I don't want United to win any game ever. I much prefer, from just a footballing perspective, I much prefer him arriving late in the box and playing closer to the goal like that. And it's only going to help Greenwood if he's getting those minutes up top too.
Was gonna come on to Greenwood's finish as well. Oh man, so was that Pogba? Was that Lindelof that made that assist? Let me double check. No, it was Pogba.
It was Pogba.
Beautiful. Oh, it was that ball. Oh my goodness. Again, it's just Pogba. You see, the thing is the weight of his passes. the players don't break stride. Do you know how hard it is and how important it is to be able to play a pass to your attackers without them breaking stride? Because that split second of them having to readjust can just phase out a counter attack completely.
Well, Greenwood doesn't get beyond his man if that's not in his stride.
Exactly.
He doesn't get that half a yard to stay
exactly.
in front of the defender.
Because Pogba knew he's looking, he's like, that's Mace, he's beating this guy, but he needs some extra yards to get that acceleration there. Exactly what he did. Greenwood got there. And then obviously from that angle, there was still a lot to do. But as a proper, like I saw the academy button just go off in him straight away. Hit it low, hard, straight across the goalkeeper and find that bottom corner. And he did that to perfection. Mason Greenwood, right? Again, not a Man United fan, but slightly out of the young crop is my favorite player because I think technically he is way, way brilliant beyond his years. The way he strikes a ball with his left and his right foot is scary, unbelievable. You don't even know which foot he is. You don't know. Obviously, they say he favors his left, but he takes penalties and free kicks and stuff with his right foot. And what's this kid? Is he even 20 years old yet?
Don't think so.
No, he's not.
He's 19.
I've been saying this, yeah. Once obviously Cavani's getting on a bit, but once his contract is up or United decide to part ways with him, I'd love to see Mason Greenwood down the middle. Obviously, again, Chelsea fan, I've got no interest. This is just my football, like my football fanboyism in perspective. You're a football fan before you support your team, because without football, there is no football team. That's what I say anyway. But it would be, I think it would be absolutely lethal for United. But let's move.
He's without a doubt at number 9. There was bits of quality last season out wide. He can go past the man, but you could just see naturally that wasn't his game. You see when he finishes, like he's got holes in his game. Don't get me wrong, he's not the complete player, but you don't expect him to be at his age.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think like with his back to goal, he's got a lot to learn and. He will get there. Don't get me wrong. He's got the likes. You say the likes of Cavani, but there's not really anyone else. But Cavani, especially like movement, playing with your back to goal. There's not many better to learn from. But yeah, just his finishing is just ridiculous. He's got to be one of the most natural finishers in the league already.
100%.
You know what I mean? You can't teach that level of composure. Kind of reminded me of Sturridge, the way he took that goal on. And then, like you say, the left-footed strike straight across, right in that corner. Just the keeper had no chance. That was a seasoned finish. But that's what you get from him. And without a doubt, he's a number 9. Without a doubt. He's not a wide man. He's not a wide man in a front three at all. He needs minutes through that middle, and he'll only get better.
100%. That's a kid. If he's nurtured in that position again, no doubt that's a world-class talent. But enough about them United scumbags. They can fuck off now. They've had enough of their praise for now. Let's get on to one of my favorite games of the week. No, it's not Chelsea. It's Brentford 2, Arsenal 0. Now, why this is my favorite, in case a lot of you don't know, is obviously Arsenal. It's always good to see him in despair. But I did say before the game, on camera, documented, so you lot can't say I'm chatting shit. I said Arsenal would get smoked out of their boots comfortably. That's what I said. Brentford 2, Arsenal 0. Dec, what is going on with Arsenal Football Club? Because in all honesty, yeah, they look weaker than they did last season. Do you want to talk?
I think you've just probably used the perfect word there, and that's weak. They look weak. They've got no. I think Arsenal have been saying this since the guy left, but they've got no Vieira in there. And then I look at the way Tony and the other forward just ragdolled their defense about. I mean, Ben White looked like a fucking teenager out there. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine somebody had the nerve to say, what did Ivan Toney do all game? He didn't even score. I was like, brother, Do you know half of your Arsenal defense was just being shoved around and just not winning a single header? That's exactly blatantly what he was there to do. The manager blatantly said, listen, I don't care if you don't score today, right? Just make it difficult for the defense and make space for everybody else to come through and get opportunities, because you're the man that can bully everybody.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant. I thought Tony was brilliant. He come deep. He didn't give, like you say, Ben White's probably biggest strength is playing with the ball at his feet. He didn't get a minute. He didn't get a minute's piece to try and pick passes. Tony was a nuisance all game. I was very impressed with him actually, because I don't really watch much Championship. Obviously, I knew he was like the top scorer in that.
Yeah.
But just his overall performance impressed me. But yeah, Arsenal, they're a mess. They're just a mess. I know probably the only shining light for Arsenal was Smith Rowe. He impressed me. I know I follow quite a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter, and they've all been raving about him. And I seen him a bit last year, and he looked tidy, but I've not seen too much of him. So I sort of kept an extra eye on him during that game, and he impressed me. The way he takes the ball on the half turn, he drives forward. He's always looking for the killer pass, but he won't play it if it's not on. Like, he's another one, like when we talk about the decision making, you can see it's there from early. You can see he's going to be a quality player. But outside of him, poor. Martinelli burst on the scene. Like, Arsenal fans were super excited about him. Not seeing much from him. He was anonymous the whole game. Could not get involved in the game at all. Balogun, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Balogun,
I felt bad for him because he was very isolated. He couldn't make anything happen. He barely got a touch of the ball. Don't think it was really his fault. Obviously, they was unlucky with the Lacazette and Aubameyang sickness or whatever was going on there. He was unlucky, but again, you need more. If the other two are out, and that's what Arsenal have got to work with, it's not going to be enough. He didn't look ready.
No. Who
else? I can't even remember who played. They were just all poor, apart from Smith Rowe. Yeah.
This is what I will say, right? Arteta, he's got to hold the brunt for a lot of this, because listen, there's one thing that I realized. I was like, you guys are signing Ben White. This was my red flag. You're signing Ben White, but you don't intend to play a back three. Ben White has never played in a back two ever. Did you know that? He's never ever not once played in a back two, and then you're asking him to play in because you know what newly promoted teams are like. That quote unquote promotion bounce. They're very dangerous to play. Even the top teams don't like playing them this early. So there's that factor, and then B, there's obviously the Ivan Toney factor and the nature of the Championship. It's a very physical league. That's what was going to happen. Anybody who knows that was definitely going to happen. And then clearly you could see going forward, it got to a point of desperation where I noticed that the boys were just literally spamming, just praying it to Tierney, and Tierney was just trying to spam crosses. And these times you're looking, Brentford have been aerially dominant the whole game. Why are you spamming in crosses, high crosses? I understand if you're going wide and you drill them low, because those ones can cause a deflection, or one of your guys can get at the end of it or whatever. You see what I'm saying? But you're playing high crosses into the box for Brentford. They was comfortable all game. They was
all game. Yeah. Like I say, I think that the Arsenal, as well as looking weak, they looked small. They had there's just no presence.
Boys against men.
You can't, the way football is now, without that, I don't really like the term pace and power. If you don't have it, it's going to be just long. Every game's just going to be long for you, because if teams get in your face, you've got no out. You looked around the pitch and they didn't have one. They didn't have one big guy. They haven't even got a big centre back. You know what I mean? I think they had that Pablo Mari. He looked useless. He was awful. I don't know what they're seeing in him. He looked terrible.
He is
dog shit. White can play with the ball at his feet. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Ben White. I think he's got some qualities. But the other day, he looked like a boy. He looked like a boy playing in a man's league. Arsenal looked like the Championship team that come up and got a reality check, and we're like, shit, this is the Premier League now. That's what it looked like. Brentford looked like the seasoned Premier League team.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking on that, let's get into both goals because that illustrates your point completely. Kainos with the first goal. I want to say it was Ben White, but it might have been Chambers that showed him onto his stronger foot. And then Leno, this guy, listen, it comes like every time I watch Arsenal, Leno costs him a goal again nearly. You don't get beat at your near post like that. You don't. That's schoolboy stuff. Absolute schoolboy stuff. But I'm not going to lie to you. The mistake started off with the ball just wasn't fucking cleared to begin with. At that point, when there's that much confusion in the box and Brentford are clearly on the up and the momentum's on their side, you just hoof it into their own half and regroup. Get your shape back together and go again. But they didn't do that. Don't know what happened to that clearance. Somehow fell over to a Brentford player, plays it to Kainos. Either Chambers or Ben White has showed him onto his stronger foot and he's just pinged it near post. 1-0. Absolute schoolboy stuff. Disgusting. If my SBU boys did that, who are a non-professional team, by the way, that I used to coach, I would have gone absolutely ape-full shit. All right, so that's the first goal. The second goal, this was disgusting. I remember, Dec, no word of it. I remember being 11 years old, right? And remember, I wasn't even a defender. I remember being 11 years old, playing in a Sunday league game. I allowed the ball to bounce in the box. I swear to you, Dec, if I was 18 plus, my manager would have taken off his boot and just whooshed it straight in my face, bro. I'm telling you, you let the ball bounce in the box, right? You see, first of all, your goalkeeper is pinned by the two Brentford players. Old school stuff, bro. They just got round him and just was like this, pinned him, right? The ball's bounced in the box. Chambers, I think it's Chambers again. He's just watched the ball go past him, and somehow they've won the header.
I think too. I think the centre back put it in, didn't he? But the other, not Tony, the other forward, he was there. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even like the guys just managed to just beat a defender. There was two of them. They were queuing up. You know what I mean? No guard, I believe it was. Yeah. But again, it's just weak. A ball comes in like that, like a Rory Delap throw in, let's say.
That's the term I used as well.
Like front to back. Like, what's your keeper doing there? You know what I mean? Allison's clearing that. Ederson is clearing that.
Yeah.
Do you know who else is probably clearing that? Emi Martinez, the guy that they let go. The guy they should have kept and they should have let Leno go.
Exactly.
And then your defenders, again, circle back to the likes of Tony Adams, Sol Campbell.
That never would have happened.
Even the defenders that Arsenal had that weren't even that good, they had a physical presence about them. Now you've got average guys who they look like midfielders or something. Like if you lined Arsenal's centre backs up, none of them look commanding. None of them look, you know what I mean? There's no one with a Thiago Silva presence or a Van Dyke presence.
I'd say, to be fair on Arsenal, I would have said that Gabriel had the potential to do that, the one they signed from Lille. But you know what it is? What I don't trust. You know what it is? I don't trust. I just don't trust the coaching team to nurture him into that sort of defender.
No, but they've got a few like exciting youngsters, but outside of these youngsters just coming in, and again, I'd put the youngsters, the youth coaches, they can take the credit for your Sakas and your Smith Rose coming through. Out of like all the Arsenal first team for the last 2 or 3 years, who's got better? Who's come into Arsenal and become a better player? You know what I mean? Aubameyang came in with this mad rep, slapped in goals. But now the fans don't even like Aubameyang anymore. You know what I mean? Like Lacazette's been shit pretty much since he touched down in the country.
Martinelli had like the shortest purple patch ever.
It's bleak. It really is bleak for Arsenal. And now they're gonna sign Ramsdale.
Oh, it's banter. Yeah, it's banter
He
season.
wouldn't have done anything to stop that goal yesterday.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He'd have got bullied out by the Brentford players as well.
I actually think, and this is saying a lot, I actually think Leno's a better keeper than him.
Yeah, so like, what are you doing? You're not selling Leno, so why are you spending nearly 25 million on a backup keeper that just got relegated?
It's the nature. It's the nature of Arsenal Football Club. Honestly,
to be honest, it's as much as like it's nice for us not to be the banter team anymore, and to have one of the big clubs going through such a banter phase. When you actually like deep it's sad to see. It's like the decline is awful. True. I keep saying like they're in like Hodgson, Liverpool kind of, but at least we sort of spotted that early. Like, we didn't have a season. You know what I mean? We spotted that early. I can't see Arteta even getting sacked. Like, what's this guy got to do to get sacked? You know what I mean? It seems like he's going to be here for the next 2 years at least.
To be honest with you, Dec, because I just feel like I've been knocking Arsenal a bit. I'm just gonna give 2 positives real quick. I thought the Congo was really a positive, one of the positives.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
He looked decent, but eventually he's gonna get burnt out and frustrated at what's going on around him. Poor kid. And again, Kieran Tierney, he was just spamming in crosses, but that's another player that I really like. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, he's quality.
But aside from that, man, I'll be honest with you. I think Arsenal are going to struggle to finish top half of the table this season.
Oh, they're going to be in and around where they finished last year.
Yeah, but it might be worse this time. It might be worse. So
not to take anything away from Brentford either, because that's huge result for them. And in terms of coming up, you can't ask for a better result. That's going to give them so much confidence. They're going to that's going to make them feel like they belong here now. So that's going to do wonders, like going into the games when they're playing teams that are probably going to be down in and around sort of bottom half of the table. That's going to give them confidence that, yeah, we can go and we can get points. Ivan Toney, obviously, he looks a threat. They look a threat. And I think when I watch the newly promoted teams, the main thing I always look at is, can they score goals in this league? Yeah, and Brentford look like they're not going to have any problems in that department. And that goes a long way. If Ivan Toney can get like 15 goals, 15 plus league goals, they're probably going to be all right. Because
Brentford slightly might finish top half of the table this year, you know, because I say this not out of excitement. It's because I know and understand how this club is set up. I had a cousin that played for Brentford, so I understand in terms of like how they do their scouting, not just like by players. Obviously, you got scouts that go and watch games beforehand, so they give the manager some advice on how to set up. What Brentford do is on player by player basis and play by play basis, they assess with numbers in front of them the weakest statistic of a player or the weakest statistic all round as a team, and they brief the team on how they exploit that. And that's how they've been doing the giant killings through the other competitions, because they've been beating the big teams in cup competitions as well. This is why I say Brentford, that is a very well-run football club. And don't be surprised if we don't see them leave the Premier League anytime soon. And it's nice to see, although there are West London rivals, kind of, you know, really around Chelsea. But it's nice to see that, yeah.
I was thinking when I was watching them, I sort of, towards the end of the game, I looked at it and I thought, these could be the next, like Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Like a smaller club, nice tight ground with going to be a good atmosphere all their home games. And I can see them being a mainstay for a few years. Yeah. Obviously, like going to that next level and becoming a complete sort of recognized Premier League team takes a lot of doing. But I can see them being up there for a few years, definitely.
Yeah. So big up Brentford. Very good result from them. Disgusting result for Arsenal fans. It's no secret. We've seen how they've reacted on social media. But let's briefly move on to, because I've done a review on this one, Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Again, very similar to the Liverpool game. From the first whistle, we just battered them out of the park. I didn't see any opportunity where Crystal Palace were really going to get through and cause a serious threat. Marcos Alonso for me in the first half was absolutely unplayable. Crystal Palace was just, I don't know. Well, I do actually, Patrick Vieira, because if you watch Nice, you'll see he was very negative there, and he sets his team back to just absorb and counter. Chelsea are not a team that you can do that against with the intelligence that we've got going forward and the creativity we've got going forward. We will break you down, especially with a manager like Tuchel will figure it out. And that's exactly what happened. There's not really much else to say to that except the highlights of Marcos Alonso's free kick. Beautiful free kick. We know how techie he is. I think he's the most techie player at Chelsea. Not the best player. There's a difference between technique and ability. But the way that guy strikes the ball, like there's no one better at Chelsea for me. Marcos Alonso, brilliant free kick. Obviously, the talking point was Trevor Chalobah. Man, I think every fan, including yourself, if you saw that goal, you must have felt something. You must have felt.
Oh yeah, I mean, you see a seller like you see just a young guy like Premier League debut. You see a young guy coming through at his boyhood club. Score a goal on the debut, and just you see a celebration like that, like you just can't help but sort of, as a football fan, just feel that emotion with him. You know what I mean? Like that was just pure relief, just pure happiness. I mean, full debut for the club a few days earlier, lifts the Super Cup, and then makes his Premier League debut.
Man
was
of the match as well.
Like he was solid. Yeah, he was. It wasn't just he scored a goal in a comfortable game. No, he was solid, and that was the foundation. It was a good performance capped off with a goal. It wasn't just a goal out of nowhere, and he was average all game. But yeah, come out of nowhere. I mean, I'd never even, when I seen Chalobah in the starting lineup, I'm like, this guy doesn't play for Chelsea anymore. What's going on? Yeah, I didn't even realize who it was, to be honest with you. But yeah, I was impressed. Could end up saving Chelsea quite a bit of money as well. I know, obviously,
yeah, I agree.
Kunde and
well, the
Kunde dead there.
The Kunde situation. The Kunde situation, I don't think that's dead yet. I think a decision needs to be made on Kurt Zouma, first of all, because if he goes, we're going to need to bring an extra one in. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Chalobah's leaving. And then there's the situation between Rudiger's contract. He's not signed a new contract yet. They're in discussion. So we may still need another centre-back. So I'm going to still keep an eye on that one. As for Chalobah, as for Trevor, he went to Roma school, actually. So Roma definitely was like, he's good, but he did tell me himself, he said he didn't expect him to develop the way he did. He always thought that Nathaniel was the better player. But like he's just surprised everybody. But then when you actually like sort of look at his body language, you can sort of tell like this is a hardworking guy, bro. He's there to play football. He's not interested in attention and all the extra things around football. He just wants to play. And I saw that in his celebration. Because that just looked like a kid who realized, like, I've worked so hard for this.
Yeah, moment. That was like,
yeah,
my hard work's paid off. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
and the celebration just said it all. Yeah, it said it all. And I think he's just going to push on and continue to do what he's doing. That's definitely going to spur him on. So well done to Trevor on that one. The next game was Leicester versus Wolves. Sorry, Dan, to do this to you. Opening game, first L. How you can't have that, Dan. Shout out Dan over there on the Wolves fan cast. Big up that channel. You get me? But listen, this is not even, that finish from Vardy was fucking disgusting. That was a world-class finish.
That guy. One of my favorite like stories in football. Just like where he came from, and like you can like, even I thought like they bought Patson Daka in, and I thought super smart move. Like Vardy, it wasn't the same Vardy that we've seen of the last few years. Last season, he was off it. He went a long time without scoring. Iheanacho sort of became the main man towards the back end of the season.
Yeah.
And then you get Daka, and you kind of think, well, this is going to be Vardy's like phasing out sort of season. You know what I mean? Like obviously Iheanacho, Daka coming through, his minutes might get restricted. And then opening day, just a world-class instinctive finish. Typical Vardy finish as well.
Typical, innit? Yeah. Typical striker finish, man.
Striking instinct, yeah.
Yeah, just being that. Yeah, do you know what it is? It's just that Vardy is just brought back. You know that kind of poacher where like they don't give up on nothing, bro. Like it can't. There might not even be an opportunity there, but they somehow can see it and they pull it off. That was it. So it was nice to see Vardy get on that score sheet. Do you think, right? Wolves are suffering from the loss of Espirito, their old manager. I said Espirito because I know that's one of his names. The other two names have got out of my head. What's his name? Nuno. That's the one. Yeah. Obviously he was there for a long while, and to lose a manager like that, obviously it brings a transition period because the whole club changes. Because once you have a manager that long, eventually things start to get tailored towards that manager. So obviously it works out the best for the team. So now they're sort of coming out of there. And do you think this might be a season where they're going to struggle a bit more?
Yeah. I mean, they struggled last season, didn't they? Obviously parted ways with Nuno. I think Jimenez being out for most of last season was a massive loss for them.
Yeah.
Obviously they lost Jota in the summer as well. So when Jimenez got that head injury, the goals just dried up for them. You sort of Adama became the main man, and his numbers have always been poor.
Oh man, hold on, wait. Since you're stuck on Adama, did you see that chance he missed, man?
But that's typical. That's just him in a nutshell. And I think that's why you've not seen any of the big teams move for him, because I don't see, like when we signed Mane, I know I always revert back to Liverpool as examples, but when we signed Mane, you could see the scope for improvement by going to a better team and being around better players. Adama, I don't see it. I like him. He's got some good qualities, but he feels to me a bit like Wilfred Zaha. Unbelievable one-on-one. He's going to have stupidly high dribbles come the end of the season, but just not quite got that extra bit to go and be a top 4, top 6.
Now, here's where I disagree with you, right? I agree with you and I disagree with you. I think he isn't top 6 material depending on where you intend to play him. Now, I think it would be a masterstroke if a team like Chelsea or someone who plays a wing-back system converted.
You lot were linked with him as like a potential wing-back, weren't you? Yeah, I saw that.
Now, this is what I'm saying. Now he becomes a different beast, because if you put him into a team where you've got finishers like Lukaku, you've got creators like Kai Havertz, you've got man like Ziyech and all these guys that have the intelligence to do all of that stuff, his role is very simple. Just get up and down that wing like you normally do anyway. Help us create chances from that side, and that's all you have to do. You don't really have to be as competent in front of goal. So with that one, I think depending on how a top manager uses him, it might be a bit of a must.
I can see it if you sort of if you grab him and sort of pull him into like a wing back area.
Yeah.
Sort of take away the need for him to be in and around the box. I can see that.
Because he's got the attributes for it. Look, he's a big fucking powerful motherfucker who can he can run real quick as well. He can give a wing a tough time in a 50-50. All he has to do is just literally flick his finger and they go out the stadium. He's that fucking big. Do you know what I mean? So I think that'd be a good signing for him. But unfortunately for him, on the back end of a 1-0 loss with a miss, that will most probably have given him nightmares until he can probably put it right in his next game, which actually won't be very easy because he's going to be playing at home against his ex-manager who have just booped Man City 1-0. And let's get on to another game, which I am proud to have predicted on camera the right result. Tottenham 1, Manchester City 0. What happened to Pep Guardiola's Man City deck? The answer to some is fairly obvious. To me, I think it's more deeper than that, but I want to hear your answer before I give you mine.
I think a few sort of influential players missing from the team obviously takes away from. You can't say it was a full strength City, But without Aguero, I think it is glaringly obvious. And I said this before: if they don't sign Kane, I don't see where are their goals coming from.
I don't trust Jesus to get them goals, to be getting 20, 25.
Pep doesn't look like he trusts him. He's not starting when they've got no other striker at the club.
He played Ferran Torres up front ahead of him.
He played,
whether it was a false nine or what,
Phil
I don't know.
Foden played up front more than Jesus last season. That tells you everything you need to know about what how Pep rates Jesus, or not necessarily how he rates him, but how he sees him fitting into the team or how the team plays. He obviously doesn't fancy him. He was part of a make-weight trying to get Kane earlier on in the window. So he's clearly surplus to requirements. But yeah, if they don't get Kane, they're going to be in for a tougher season than people think. Because I look at their attacking options and they've got some unbelievable players, but they've got one 20-plus goal a season player, and that's Sterling. And the thing is with Sterling, you just don't know what Sterling's going to turn up. Exactly. If the same Sterling turns up last season, City are fucked if they don't get a striker. They are.
It's true, yeah.
It's paid 100 million for Jack Grealish. He's not going to score 20 goals.
No.
You know what I mean? He might not even get 10 league goals. Who's going to be on the end of all those De Bruyne unbelievable crosses? Grealish is going to be on the end of them.
Ferran Torres ain't going to be at the end of them. We saw that against Spurs. Boy, listen. My thing is this. It's like, obviously, the first point being Man City, they don't have a striker. And it showed that they needed one. But it was more than that. My thing was Tottenham were cutting through Man City's midfield so easily. Yet Fernandinho was still in that midfield. Gundogan was in that midfield.
That's a leggy midfield, though, man. That's a leggy midfield. Like, right. Fernandinho is unbelievable, but at one point, I think he actually technically became a free agent. And then Man City decided to re-sign him, I'm pretty sure. Like, he was going to leave.
Yeah.
And then Man City, obviously, I don't know whether they thought all this money's going on their two attackers. They're not going to be bringing in a midfielder and re-sign him. But yeah, leggy, man. The likes of Lucas Moura and Heung-min Son just
terrorized them.
Yeah, just on Moura the turn, went past them with ease. Just
Mendy.
Yeah, Moura especially. Just
Mendy
every time he got the ball, he just left any City player for dead. Son was really impressive. I thought he did really well. They struggled a little bit early on, but once Son grew into the game a bit, they were brilliant. The way he gets his shots off on the edge of the box, the way he just can swivel on it and just whip it, and he always gets it on target, always right near the corners.
Yeah.
Big fan of his. The finish was unbelievable. Just put it where the keeper didn't even see it. It come through some bodies and he put it right in the corner. But I was impressed. Tanganga did really well.
Fantastic.
Say he was a booking for a long time as well, up against like Grealish and Sterling.
He kept Sterling in his pocket, mate.
Yeah, he impressed me a lot. Spurs, they did what they needed to do. Man City had a lot on the ball. But Nuno set them up perfect. They were very deadly on the counter-attack. They looked fresher than Man City. They were quicker than Man City. I think that, again, Man City just didn't have much pace. And the quick players in Man City's team aren't Man City's good players. Mendy's wank. Like, he is terrible.
Hey, Lucas ruined him, bro.
The CV of that guy for his quality is unbelievable. Like, he's stealing a living there. Cancelo didn't look himself. I'm usually a big fan of his.
Yeah.
Ake doesn't look. I like him, but the drop off from like your Companies, your Laportes, even your Ruben Diaz, who
the golfing quality is too big, isn't it?
Yeah, Diaz as well. Like, I'm not a big fan of Diaz. He's an old school, last ditch, put your body on the line centre back, but he's not a leader. He's not.
No.
He can play with the ball at his feet. Don't get me wrong, but then like, the fuck was he doing for that goal? All he had to do was stick his leg out, and he's done some like, I don't even know what he's done.
I don't know what he's done. And my thing is you see once that ball was played to Son, and I seen Ake was the one in marking him. I just said it. It's on the live stream on back again. I just said literally, Ake's gonna step off. Then Ake's gonna realize he's in the box. That's if Son even gets that far, and Son's just gonna let the shot off. Because Ake, the thing is with him, is he hesitates. Like you might see, like sometimes, because as a defender, I drop back into defense, so like I can sort of see. Sometimes as a defender, you have your window where you've just got to commit, and you've got and that's where you make the tackle. Any split second outside of that, you're gonna either get left or it's a foul. He does it too much. He second guesses himself too much, and that's. And
the thing is, with someone like Son, you can't do that.
No,
you can't, because he can just lang it in off either foot.
That's
so
exactly.
It doesn't matter if you think, oh, all right, I think he's predominantly right-footed. But if he's shaping up onto his left, you can't back off him when he's on his left, because he'll do exactly what he did the other day and just whip it in.
Controversial question. Harry Kane gets sold to Man City. Son given the number 9 and plays the rest of his Tottenham time down the middle. Does losing Harry Kane seem so bad after all, considering they get £150 million for him and play Son down the middle?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, the only thing you can say is it depends what they do with the cash.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, look at I said this the other day. Look at when they sold Bale. And they bought like those 8 man in one summer.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of them turned out any good. So it's all right having that big lump sum in the bank, but
it's how you spend it, isn't it?
Who do you buy? How do you replace Harry Kane?
But it's different. But you see why it's different for Tottenham and what people are sleeping on. Their director of football is actually a very, very good one and knows how to get good deals. Like I'm telling you now, that signing of Christian Romero from Atalanta, that is a very, very good signing. And if they end up selling him on, they're gonna sell him for probably 70 million onwards from there. So that's a man that knows how to scout. Don't be surprised if by the end of this window, Tottenham have made a move for someone like Lautaro Martinez or someone serious like that, bro. Because why not? Look, there's him. There's also that Vlahovic guy from Fiorentina that they're looking at as well. Tottenham, they're not dining at the top of the table, but they're more attractive than Arsenal. They're thereabouts with Leicester, sort of thing. Although Leicester have had the more success, but when you really look at the levels to this shit, they're kind of in the same bracket, aren't they?
Yeah. So in my opinion, though, I don't think Kane goes.
I don't either. Well, no, do you know what, bro? I wish I could say that, but you got to look at the team that we're dealing with, bro, and how quickly they're able to get this deal done. Because if we're talking Man United, Liverpool, or one of these other teams that take their time to negotiate, I would have said by now it's too late. But Man City can just literally turn up and just be like, okay, boom, that's it. Here's the money. Give us the player. We got the contract ready. All right, let's move this one on. How many? Damn. We've got Newcastle and West Ham, and then we've got Watford, Villa, Everton, and Southampton. Have you got time for the 3 games left, Dec, or you got to go soon?
No, we can run through them. We can run through them quickly. Okay,
so let's run through them real quick. Watford, obviously winning 3-2. They return to the Premier League, a very positive one. One face that Premier League fans should be familiar with is Ismaila Sarr, particularly Liverpool fans heavily linked with him. I believe it was 2 summers ago. While Watford was still in the league.
Yeah.
Yep. Looks like he's come back and he's just picked up straight from the form that he left in the Premier League. Excellent result there for Watford. Unfortunate result there for Aston Villa, also losing their star man Jack Grealish in the summer. Dec, I'm just going to let you just give me a quick run through the game before we move on to the next one.
Great result for Watford. I think most people had them as one of the favourites to go straight back down. They'll take, again, 3 points on your opening day. They'll take a lot of confidence from that. 3 goals. Again, scoring goals is massive for a team coming up. So to get 3 in your opening game, it's just going to give you confidence and make you think that we belong here. That sort of belief that it gives you. And if they can keep hold of Sarr, which it looks like they will, he can be the difference maker. He can be the one that sort of gets them those points when they're down in the little 6-point dogfights, and he can be that little bit of quality that maybe some of the other teams that are going to be down there. This is me. I think they're going to be down there. That's my opinion, but I think he's got that little bit of quality that not every team has. So he'll definitely be the difference between them being in a proper dogfight and maybe just being safe. Villa, I think Villa will be all right. I think they've recruited pretty well, actually.
100%.
It's going to take a minute just to get used to not having your talisman there, bedding the new signings in. But they'll be all right. They'll be up in about where they finished last season. So they'll chalk that one down as moving on. They've got a couple of goals, so they've got a little positive to take. I think they'll probably just chalk that down and they'll be back. But good result for Watford.
No, 100%. 3-2 Watford. Good way to start the season. And I agree with you. Like you said, I think Aston Villa should be fine going forward. Just maybe a little more playing time together as a team is needed. Another game after that, your Merseyside rivals, Everton, beat Southampton 3-1. Good goal from Adam Armstrong, actually. I want to give him props. It was a brilliant finish on the 22nd minute. And then
looked like it could have just been Danny Ings.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly brilliant finish. Richarlison getting a goal on the 47th minute for Everton. Decore with an absolutely brilliant finish. Did you see that?
Yeah, great strike.
Yeah, lovely bit of footwork there as well. Spun the defender, slapped it in top corner. Keeper had no chance. Fair play to them. Looked decent, obviously, to come back from being 1-0 down and winning. Everton at one point, once they went behind, they weren't getting the result, but they look like they might turn it around. They've got a decent squad there. So let's see what happens there with Everton. What do we have left here? We got Burnley and Brighton, and then we got Newcastle and West Ham United. Burnley, Brighton, I'm not even going to lie to you, bro. The only thing that I really remember about this game is Tarkowski just absolutely shoving Maupay down to the floor to win that header. It was fucking hilarious. But then Maupay did get his good
result for them coming back. I think they went 1-0 down after about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah. Maupay did get his revenge in the second half, obviously getting a goal in the 73rd minute, and then Alexis McAllister in the 78th minute buries it for Brighton 2-1 against Burnley. Not good, again, I can't remember too much that happened in that game. Not the most exciting two teams playing, no disrespect to their fans. But Newcastle, our final game, Newcastle versus West Ham United, a game full of goals. West Ham obviously won that game 4-2. Yeah, Dec, let's talk a little bit about this game. Like to see Callum Wilson on the score sheet the first 5 minutes. That's a striker I feel sorry for, man. Injury plagued, could have gone way further than he did. I remember him at Coventry City as well. When he had less injuries, he was just absolutely lethal, and he was someone that I was looking at like, yeah, he could do a job in the Prem. Then he went to Sheffield United. I believe it was Sheffield United. Did he get promoted with Sheffield United? I think he did. You know what? I think he did, because I'm just going off my memory. Please be right. Don't be wrong. Don't be wrong. All right. So Coventry. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, shit. Guni got that one wrong. Anyway, enough about that waffle anyway. Let's move straight on to the game 4-2. What a result. West Ham, they turned that one around, didn't they, Dec?
I'm quietly looking forward to seeing West Ham. I thought they looked good last season. I think they still need a striker. They definitely need, and I think they're trying to buy a striker. It's just, who do they get? It's just a difficult market out there for guaranteed goals. But they'll be good. They'll be again in and around where they were last season, knocking on the door of those European places. I think they'll have a good season. I'm looking forward to seeing Benrahma now. He's had a season there and he's settled. He looks an exciting player. So good season for them. Newcastle, we can pretty much know where they're going to be, down there in and around, sort of fighting for safety. And another team, like they need to be thankful that they've got Callum Wilson. If he can stay fit, it's goals down there. Having a goal scorer when you know you're going to be in a relegation fight is huge.
Yeah.
And if he can stay fit, they should probably be okay. But it's probably going to be a long season for them again. It's just a bit shit, in it, seeing a big team like Newcastle just under Mike Ashley, just in the shit every year. It feels like the same season just plays out year after year for Newcastle, and it's a bit grim. They had that little upturn when Benitez came in, and that sort of Mike Ashley pissed him off. They parted ways, and they're just stuck in a bit of a cycle, I think, and it's a bit shit to see from a footballing perspective. But what can you do?
It is what it is, but nonetheless, good result for West Ham. One player that particularly impressed me that game was Saeed Benrahma. Had one of his better games, starting to show the promise that he had while he was at Brentford, because I felt last season he was a little off it, but gave him life. That was his first season at West Ham, wasn't it? Yeah. So maybe he'll push on and we can see what he's really capable of. But that's it for the Premier League roundup games of the week. To all of you that have been watching, thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, all of that good stuff. Also, you can find Dec's details down below in the description. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff, and you will be finding Dec here. So like I said to you before the stream, we're going to try and do this weekly on the last day of the Premier League games. So try and keep some time space available for me, Dec, on those days, yeah?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
All right, then. Well, thanks again, everyone. Also, catch me this week again on Back Again with Troops and Zar. We will most probably be doing it on computer because Troops has gone home to London because he's scared of what's about to happen when Chelsea smoke Arsenal out their boots. He doesn't want to see me face to face. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to end it. Be safe. Bless.